I overheard my girlfriend brag. He's so clueless. At my surprise party, I got up and said, the real surprise is she's cheating with my friend. Then I showed everyone the photos. She was left frantically trying to explain as my friend snuck out the back door. I, 29M, thought I was walking into my own surprise birthday party. Instead, I walked into the biggest betrayal of my life. The whole thing started 3 weeks ago when I noticed my girlfriend acting strange. She'd been secretive about her phone, stepping outside to take calls, and working late more often than usual. When I asked about it, she'd get this look, like she was hiding something but trying not to show it. She'd brush off my concerns with that laugh she did when she was nervous, telling me I was being paranoid. I wanted to believe her. We'd been together for 2 years, living together for 8 months. I thought we were solid. I thought I knew her. Last Tuesday, I came home early from work with a splitting headache. The house was quiet, and I figured she was still at her job. I went upstairs to grab some aspirin from the bathroom when I heard her voice coming from our bedroom. The door was cracked open, and she was on the phone, pacing around in that way she did when she was excited about something. That's when I heard it. She was telling someone how clueless I was, how easy it had been to sneak around behind my back. She laughed, actually laughed, about how I'd bought her story about working late when she was really spending time with him. The way she said him made my blood run cold. There was affection there, intimacy. I stood frozen in the hallway, my headache forgotten, listening to my girlfriend of 2 years describe me like I was some joke she was playing on the world. She mentioned planning something for Saturday, my birthday, and how perfect the timing would be. She said everyone would be there, and it would be the ideal opportunity. The ideal opportunity for what? I had no idea, but the excitement in her voice made me sick. I backed away from the door and went downstairs, my mind racing. Part of me wanted to confront her right then, but something held me back. Maybe it was shock, or maybe some instinct told me I needed more information before I made any moves. The rest of that week was torture. I had to pretend everything was normal while watching her lie to my face every single day. She'd kiss me goodbye in the morning and tell me she loved me, then spend her day planning whatever betrayal she had in mind. The worst part was how good she was at it. If I hadn't overheard that conversation, I never would have suspected anything. Friday night. She told me she had to work Saturday morning, but would be back by evening. She suggested we keep my birthday low-key, maybe just order takeout and watch a movie. I agreed, playing the role of the understanding boyfriend while my stomach churned with rage. Saturday morning, after she left for her fake work commitment, I did something I'd never done before. I followed her. She drove across town to a coffee shop I'd never heard of. I parked across the street and watched through the window as she met up with someone. When I saw who it was, the betrayal hit me like a physical blow. It was my friend Marcus, my friend of 5 years, the guy who'd been my best man when my college roommate got married, the one who helped me move into the apartment I now shared with her. He was leaning across the table, holding her hand, looking at her the way I thought only I did. I sat in my car for 20 minutes, watching them together. They weren't just talking, they were planning. She had a notebook, and they kept checking their phones, coordinating something. Every so often, one of them would laugh, and I could see how comfortable they were together. This wasn't new. This had been going on for a while. When they finally left, in separate cars, being careful not to look too obvious, I followed Marcus. He drove to a party supply store, then to a grocery store. He was shopping for my birthday party. The birthday party my cheating girlfriend and my backstabbing friend were throwing for me. The irony was almost funny. Almost. I spent the rest of Saturday preparing. I went home and acted surprised when she returned that evening, asking about her day and listening to her lie about spreadsheets and meetings. She seemed nervous, checking her phone constantly, and I realized she was coordinating with Marcus and probably others about the party setup. Around 6, she suggested we go for a walk. I knew this was her way of getting me out of the house so everyone could gather, but I played along. We walked around the neighborhood for an hour, and she kept steering us away from our street, making excuses about wanting to enjoy the sunset. When we finally headed back, I could see cars parked along our block. She started acting excited, talking about how nice it was to spend quality time together, just the two of us. Her performance was flawless. If I didn't know what I knew, I would have been completely fooled. As we approached our front door, I could hear voices inside. She pulled out her key with exaggerated slowness, building the suspense. She looked at me with those eyes I used to love, and for just a second, I almost felt sorry for what was about to happen. We walked inside, and everyone jumped out yelling surprise. The living room was packed with friends, co-workers, even some of my family members. There were balloons, decorations, a banner with my name on it. Someone had ordered a cake from my favorite bakery. It was perfect, exactly the kind of party I would have wanted. Everyone started coming over to wish me happy birthday, hugging me, telling me how excited they'd been to keep the secret. I played my part, acting shocked and grateful, but my eyes kept finding Marcus in the crowd. He was hanging back, near the kitchen, watching me with what I now recognized as guilt masquerading as friendship. My girlfriend was in her element, playing the devoted partner who'd organized this wonderful surprise. She kept touching my arm, looking up at me adoringly, making sure everyone could see what a perfect couple we made. People kept complimenting her on the party, telling me how lucky I was to have someone who cared so much. For about 30 minutes, I let the charade continue. I opened presents, made small talk, even blew out the candles on my cake while everyone sang. But the whole time, I was watching her and Marcus, noting the way they carefully avoided being near each other, how they never made eye contact, how they both seemed tenser than everyone else in the room. That's when I heard it again. I was in the kitchen getting a drink when she walked past with one of her friends. They didn't see me behind the open refrigerator door, and her friend was gushing about what a great party it was and how thoughtful she'd been to organize it all. That's when she said it. He's so clueless. He has no idea how much work this was. But it was the way she said it, with that same tone I'd heard on the phone 3 days earlier. Like I was some simple-minded child she had to manage. Like the party wasn't a gift but a performance, and I was too stupid to see through it. Something snapped inside me. I closed the refrigerator door and walked back into the living room. The conversation died down as people noticed me moving toward the center of the room. I could feel everyone's eyes on me, and I saw my girlfriend's face change from confusion to concern as she realized something was different. I looked around at all these people who'd come to celebrate me, people who genuinely cared about me, and I felt sick thinking about how they were being used as props in this elaborate lie. My parents were there. My sister had driven 3 hours to be here. Co-workers had given up their Saturday night. All of them deceived, just like I'd been. I pulled out my phone and opened the photo app. During my surveillance mission that morning, I'd taken pictures. Not proud of turning into someone who spies and gathers evidence, but I'd done what I had to do. I had photos of her and Marcus at the coffee shop, holding hands across the table. I had photos of them kissing in the parking lot before they got in their separate cars. I had photos of them embracing outside the party supply store. The room was completely quiet now. Everyone was staring at me, probably thinking I was about to give some heartfelt speech about how grateful I was for the surprise, how much I appreciated everyone being there. Instead, I said the words I'd been rehearsing in my head all day. The real surprise is that she's cheating with my friend. The silence that followed was deafening. I could hear someone's drink hit the floor. I could hear my mother gasp. I could feel the entire room collectively hold its breath. Then I held up my phone and showed the pictures. I started with the coffee shop photos, explaining what I'd witnessed that morning. I moved through each image methodically, describing the timeline, the locations, the lies I'd been told. My voice was steady, matter-of-fact, like I was giving a presentation at work. The reaction was immediate and devastating. My girlfriend's face went white, then red, then white again. She started shaking her head, her mouth opening and closing without any words coming out. She looked around the room frantically, as if searching for an escape or an ally, but everyone was staring at the photos on my phone. That's when I noticed Marcus was gone. At some point during my revelation, he'd slipped out the back door like the coward he was, leaving her to face the consequences alone. She finally found her voice and started trying to explain. She said the photos were taken out of context, that Marcus was just helping her plan the party, that the kiss was friendly, that I was misunderstanding everything. Her explanations came out in a panicked rush, contradicting each other, making less sense with each desperate word. But no one was buying it. The evidence was right there, and everyone in that room could see exactly what had been happening. The looks of sympathy and celebration had turned to shock, anger, and disgust. Some people were already reaching for their coats. My sister was the first to speak up, asking if I was okay and shooting daggers at my girlfriend with her eyes. My parents looked like they didn't know whether to comfort me or throw her out of the house. My coworkers were staring at their shoes, clearly uncomfortable but unable to look away from the disaster unfolding in front of them. The party broke up quickly after that. People didn't know what to say or do, so they left. Some stopped to give me awkward hugs and promised to call later. Others just slipped out without a word. Within 20 minutes, the house was empty except for me, her, and the mess of decorations that suddenly seemed like a mockery of everything I'd thought we had. She tried one more time to explain, to convince me that I'd misunderstood, but I cut her off. I told her I'd heard her phone conversation 3 days earlier, that I knew she thought I was clueless, that I was done being made a fool of. She crumpled then, finally admitting what we both knew was true. She tried to blame Marcus, saying he'd pursued her and she'd gotten confused. She tried to blame stress from work, from our relationship, from planning the party. She tried to blame me, saying I'd been distant lately and she'd needed someone to talk to. But none of it mattered. The betrayal was complete, and the trust was shattered beyond repair. I told her to leave. Not just for the night, permanently. We both knew it was over. She packed some essentials and went to stay with a friend, promising to come back for the rest of her things when I wasn't there. I spent that night cleaning up party supplies and eating birthday cake alone in my kitchen, trying to process what had just happened. Update 1. The fallout from that night has been intense. Word spread quickly through our social circle, and I've been getting calls and texts nonstop. Most people are supportive, expressing shock and anger about what she and Marcus did. A few mutual friends have admitted they had suspicions but didn't want to get involved, which stings but doesn't surprise me. Marcus finally texted me 2 days later with a pathetic apology, claiming he never meant for things to go so far and that he valued our friendship too much to lose it. I didn't respond. There's nothing he could say that would make this right, and I have no interest in hearing his excuses. My girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, has been trying to reach me through mutual friends, asking for a chance to explain properly, to make things right. She's been telling people that I humiliated her in front of everyone, that I could have handled it privately. The irony isn't lost on me that she's worried about humiliation after what she put me through. I've been staying strong, but I won't lie, it hurts. Not just the betrayal, but the realization of how long I was living a lie. How many times did she kiss me after being with him? How many times did she tell me she loved me while planning to betray me? How many people knew or suspected and said nothing? Work has been awkward since several coworkers were at the party, but my boss actually pulled me aside to say he respected how I handled the situation. Apparently, Marcus had been bragging about his complicated situation with a coworker's girlfriend, not knowing that word would get back to someone who knows me. Update 2. It's been 2 weeks since the party, and the dust is starting to settle. She came by last Saturday to get her things while I was at my sister's place. She left her key and a long letter that I haven't read yet. I'm not sure I want to. I found out more details about their affair through mutual friends who felt guilty about knowing pieces of the puzzle. It had been going on for 3 months. Marcus had been coming over to help with party planning when I was at work. They'd been texting constantly, using party coordination as a cover. The level of deception was staggering. The worst part was learning that the surprise party idea was actually Marcus's suggestion. He thought it would be the perfect cover for their relationship and a way to throw me off the scent if I was getting suspicious. They planned to use the party as proof of how much she loved me, thinking it would buy them more time to figure out their situation. Some friends have suggested I was too harsh, that I should have confronted her privately instead of exposing everything in front of everyone. But I don't regret it. She made the choice to betray me in front of all those people by pretending to be the loving girlfriend while carrying on an affair. She made the choice to use our friends and family as props in her deception. The exposure fit the crime. Update 3. A month has passed, and I'm doing better than I expected. The anger has faded into something more manageable, and I'm starting to feel like myself again. I've been spending more time with my family and the friends who stood by me through this mess. I finally read her letter last week. It was mostly what I expected: apologies, explanations, blame shifting. She claimed she'd fallen out of love with me months ago, but didn't know how to end things without hurting me. She said the affair with Marcus was her way of finding the courage to leave, but she got caught up in the excitement of something new and made bad choices. She asked for forgiveness, not to get back together, but to find some kind of peace between us. She said she never meant to humiliate me and that she understood why I did what I did, even if she thought it was cruel. I haven't responded, and I don't plan to. I don't owe her forgiveness or peace. She had plenty of opportunities to handle this situation with honesty and respect, and she chose deception every time. The consequences of those choices are hers to live with. Marcus reached out one more time through a mutual friend, wanting to meet up and clear the air. I declined. There's no version of that conversation that ends with us being friends again, and I see no point in giving him a chance to make himself feel better about what he did. I've started dating again. Nothing serious, just casual coffee dates and dinner with people I meet through apps or mutual friends. It feels strange after 2 years with someone, but also liberating in a way I didn't expect. I'm rediscovering parts of myself that got lost in that relationship, remembering what it feels like to be with someone who actually wants to be there. The whole experience taught me something important about trust and intuition. Those warning signs I noticed 3 weeks before the party weren't paranoia. They were my instincts trying to protect me. Next time, I'll listen to them sooner. I'm grateful for how everything played out, as painful as it was. Better to discover the truth at 29 than waste more years with someone who saw me as an obstacle to overcome rather than a partner to cherish. Better to lose friends who could watch me be betrayed without saying anything than to keep people in my life who don't really have my back. My 30th birthday is coming up in 11 months. I'm planning to throw my own party this time, surrounded only by people I trust completely. It'll be a much smaller group than last year's crowd, but it'll be real in a way that night never was. Sometimes people ask if I regret exposing everything so publicly, if I wish I'd handled it differently. The answer is no. She chose to make our entire relationship a public performance while privately betraying me. She chose to involve all those people in her deception. I simply revealed the truth behind the performance. The real surprise wasn't that she was cheating with my friend. The real surprise was discovering I had the strength to stand up for myself when it mattered most, even when it hurt, even when it was messy, even when it meant blowing up a life I thought I wanted. That birthday party was supposed to be about celebrating another year of my life. In the end, it became about starting a new one.